So just talking you through the grasses that tippers do. So the regular range is Elford, Sandringham and Regency. So they are the upper end, especially Elford and the Regency are more your upper end on grass, just for the quality of it. It's very dense, 38 mil, around I think they're 2.8, 2.9 in weight. But what we have brought in this year is a 40 mil and a 30 mil, which are their stock, more budget range. We've went through a new supplier about this to try and bring in something that they could put out at a better price. That's 11.95 a square metre, that's at 9.95 a square metre. But that 40 mil, I have to say, that one, if you look at that, is really nice. And I've seen it down, really, really nice grass is that. So, because the problem is with manufacturers, they'll sometimes bring you a sample, and then when you get the rolls in, it's nothing like the sample, but that has been all available in 4 and 5 metre wide as well. But just what I've been obviously just trying to do is just show you just how we fit it and how we get around joining it. So I'll take you over here. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to slash it right down the middle for the starters. You really need to cut 2 brand new edges. The reason being is not always the stitches aren't always straight, and also you can sometimes get a little bit of the backing overhanging. So all I'm going to do, obviously we're going to join it. I'm just going to flip the 2 sides over. And like I said, I always go down. I always use a standing knife just to make it just sharp blade. So what you really need to do is go right to the edge of that stitch. So if you go right to the edge on that one, and then your other one, you're going to do exactly the same thing. And the reason why you're doing that is but you're trying to stop that happening, and that's why you get gappy joins. Because when you get that edge on it, you put them together, it'll just leave a gap down it. So that's why it just creates a nice straight edge for you. And then ideally, if you bring them together, just get them set up. And then you're going to try and get them, if you can get them as close as without the edges touching. So that's probably about perfect, is that. The reason being, if you get them touching, they can do that, they tent, yeah. So, and then it's... So we have this machine now. If you're doing a really big join, you'd use that glue, which is the wet fix. You pour it in there, and as you can see, that's how it...
Oh, just put it on the tape for you, does it?
Yeah, so you pour that in there, okay. And then as you pull the tape out, that's how it comes out with just the right amount of glue on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just, if you've got a long join, if you've got anything a 10 metre, 12 metre, 15 metre join, you're going to go through less glue that way than you are with them. So it just puts the right amount of glue on, and that has got like thin teeth that side and thicker teeth depending on how big your stitches are. If you've got a real thick stitch, so really good piece of kit is that. I'll just take a bit of tape off that. In theory, yes, you would do, wouldn't you? The problem is they make that side shiny and the glue doesn't stick to it. But yeah, in theory, I thought that when I first, came about it. So if you set that up like that, so if you just set it up before you actually start gluing it, just so make sure it's in the right place. And then we're just going And the other thing that often happens is that they won't comb out the glue as well. They'll leave it like that, so it's not all getting. So it's just a case of just that or a trowel.
Yeah, just, I mean, they're obviously cheap as.
But it's just so the glue's getting right across the tape. And then again, you're just going to then, as you drop it over, and the one thing you just need to be careful, so the other thing with artificial grass is there's a slight side pile on it as well, as you probably know, so it's just dropping the right side, but just to make sure your pile doesn't get trapped, so just as you're lifting it up, just to bring it in, and then like I said, if you set it up with no gap, and then from there, just be a case of just rub it in. And then, as a former carpet fitter, I've then got a seam roller, which just gets the glue hold of it. And that is hopefully, it's really hard to make them invisible, to make them totally invisible, but you'd like to think that's as good as you can get it. So, and then with regards to fitting it, like I said, I don't go via the back, because a lot of the time the edge isn't straight. So if it was just, again, when you're doing that end, because you're against the pile, obviously the pile's going to lean against you. So what I normally do, bearing in mind you'd probably have something there, like a sleeper or something, wouldn't you? But go from there. If you were just going to the edge or something, if we can get to it, look, there is it. So if you just pull it back, and then you can normally just get you can feel your knife at the edge. Yeah, and then just run it alongside, and just take your time with it. So what I was also going to show you, if, so say we had a straight edge there, just to try and, if you just give it a curl, say like that, and it'll just help, it just helps that, and then just run your knife across there, it just helps that, take the leaner, stand up. If it gets warmer as well, it helps, so it just stops it from, but yeah, if you just get the back of your knife, and it just helps doing it that way. Say you were going round a tree, anything like that. I'm just thinking we had something to go around. But so say you had a circle there, say if you had a tree there, you'd do that and then just cut it into triangles around it. And then that's how you'd be looking at doing, and then obviously just cut it round, and that's how you'd be cutting around a circle. If you had something in the way, and then hopefully that would then drop, and it should be perfect, so you can just put a bit of tape and the glue round, so if you've got anything to go around, whether it be a post or, like I said, it's the trees are the normal one, like, that's how you get around them. We normally use them type of things, so you just screw it in with them, yeah. And like I said, with these, if you just part the pile a little bit, once you've done that, you can't see the screw then. So just, yeah, make sure you put a screw either side of the join. That's the best way. It's just if you ever have to get it up, at least you can undrill it. And you probably want to gap them about that much. The issue with U-pins is if they hit something hard going down, they won't go in. So we do have, that's the other thing to that type of thing. So, but they will go in. And again, it'll just be a case of just part your pile, just so you can get through to the back, and then put it, and then drive it in, and you won't see them. Once you got that and you put your pile over it, you can't see them, and they certainly work. We don't push the sand side of things, but if it was going to get used for football, if they've got kids that play a lot of football, I would recommend it. but the other thing is a lot of people don't put enough on. With Regency, which is what this is, you'd be looking at between 8 to 10 kilos per square metre. You need to be getting it in there and brush it in, and then just, but make sure you put it on when it's dry as well, because otherwise it will clump up. If it's just something they're just going to walk on now and again, I won't worry about it. Just tell them to keep on top of brushing it. That's the big thing. It's like hoovering the carpet. If you don't hoover it, it'll look naff. Obviously you've dug out, you'll put your MOT down, and then we use granite dust. Yeah, the reason it goes hard, but it drains really well. The problem with sand, grit sand might not be so bad, but it also can sink. So you can then get, if you've battened it and it sinks, you'll then get that issue, which then causes sort of it's not going to look neat. I know the person we use, if he's battened it, his granite will be absolutely flush to the batten, absolutely flush to it. And with your batten, you probably, if you go into tiles, flags, whatever, you probably want about a 10mm gap, just so the top of it doesn't sit flush, so you've got some grass sticking up over it. Just gives you a bit of an insight into how we recommend to do it going forward. Joint is the one, just make sure you cut a fresh. You've only got to come in about 3 stitches and then just cut a nice fresh edge, and it will just come together really nice. Then get it set up dry, put your glue on and just lift it as you're coming in, just so the pile doesn't get trapped, and it just keeps the glue off the pile.